Okay, so welcome to the second part of this Who is a Yogi? This is a very important topic in the scriptures. I'll just recap what we did last time. I don't think you attended last time, right? So I'll just recap. So yoga is today they add yoga to every woo-woo topic, and that is not how it is in the scripture. So all these things, the woo topic plus yoga is not a yoga topic. And it's not circus or gymnastics, because in circus and gymnastics, even though the asanas look similar, it's about achievement and display of prowess. Whereas in yoga, it's about stilling the mind and tuning to the inner self, which is what all the scriptures say. So it is least important how you look in the pose. And asanas, in the larger scheme of yoga, it's very little. So in the Yoga Sutras, only three asanas three sutras talk about asanas. 6 about pranayama, 7 about Ishvara or Bhagavan or the higher principle, whatever you call it. 16 talk about disciplines, yama and niyama. We'll briefly see that. And then 76 on meditation. So I know Anya is a regular meditator, so you could feel you are a true yogi. Not the people who do poses.
If I fall asleep during
That's fine. That's totally fine. Yes. And others, 88 talk about Purusha and Prakriti. We'll talk about what the Purushas, that's the Atma. Prakriti is the body, all this. Okay. Asana is also mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. It's just a seat or a seated posture, like the Padmasana. That's all it talks about in the Bhagavad Gita. Nothing fancy. The Shastras glorify the yogi. So we saw that last time, that Bhagavan Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita catapults the yogi. He says, yogi is greater than people who do great actions, greater than scholars, everything. Yogi is ultimate. That's what Krishna says. He says, we'll recap this shloka.
तपस्विभ्योऽधिको योगी ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्माद् योगी भवार्जुन.
So Tataji, were you able to hear the shloka? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank
Very
you.
well.
Yeah. Okay. So this is how important the yogi is in the scheme of things. And it doesn't come by doing just asanas. Okay. Now the Shastras or scriptures define 3 qualities. So Anya, you can feel very proud. You are in the top because you meditate every day. So yogi has a mind that can be easily drawn into meditation. Then the yogi has the ability to control the senses. It is not by deprivation, not by force, but by ease. And how is that? That's why today's session was about going in. We didn't do a lot of complicated things, but it's about, I also gave the adjustments so that you could go inside. Okay. Ability to control the senses. And yogi is not given to excesses. No excess food. Food is very important. We'll come to that. And excess effort. Okay. The Yoga Sutras also talk about the yogi, and they talk about 8 limbs of yoga. Yama, niyama, which is the solid foundation. It is principles. It is control of the senses, all that. Then asana, pranayama, pratyahara is turning the senses inward. Then meditation, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. This is what we studied last time. Um, I I can also give you the recording for last time. I put it in the WhatsApp group, but I can also make it available to you on here. Um, the yogi is detailed in the Bhagavad Gita quite a bit. This chapter 2 lays the foundation for a yogi, and in chapter 6, Krishna just catapults the yogi into outer space, as glorifying what a yogi is. And Krishna says that if due to some reason a person falls away from the path of yoga, then that person picks that up in the next journey. So prayatnadyatamaanastu yogi samshuddha kilbishaha aneka janma samsiddha, many lifetimes of perfection, tato yati paramgatim. So yogi builds on that and goes even further. That is what Krishna says. So the Yoga Sutras and the Bhagavad Gita, they are considered the two shastras, which means pramana. They are the authoritative scriptures on yoga. So this, it's taken as like sanctum sanctorum, like the ultimate, the truth about yoga and the yogi. So in this, as I mentioned before, the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is the most important chapter because it tells everything about the entire Yoga Shastra. It kind of condenses. And in this, shlokas 54 to 72 describe a yogi. And it's further continued in the 47 shlokas in chapter 6 on meditation. So since there's so much coverage of a yogi and a yoga, Bhagavad Gita is considered a yoga shastra, or the ultimate, the authoritative scripture. And chapter 6 on the Bhagavad Gita is the primer for meditation. Okay, now we will chant a few shlokas, if that is okay. And Lataji, you can keep it muted and you can chant too, no problem. So the yogi is introduced as a sthita prajna, a person of grounded wisdom. So this is what yoga is supposed to give us. So Arjuna actually terms this sthita prajna. So Arjuna asks that question. So shall we chant this? I'll first chant and then you can chant. And yeah, it's up to you. If you want, you can chant or you can just listen to this. So these shlokas are considered mantras, which means they have certain vibrations. They're done in a certain meter and it's supposed to still the mind. So they're considered very, like, the people consider it sacred. So I will chant. Arjuna Uvacha.
Arjuna Uvacha.
Tita Prajnasya ka bhasha.
Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasha.
Samadhistasya Keshava.
Samadhistasya Keshava.
Sthita Dikrim Prabhasheta. Sthita Dikrim Prabhasheta. Kimasita Prajeta Kim.
Kimasita Brajeta Kim.
Okay, so Arjuna asks Krishna this question. O Keshava, is referring to Krishna. Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha kim? What is the language or the description of a person of a steady wisdom? That is a yogi who has attained steadiness of the mind. How is the description of that person? And he says, Sthita kim prabhasha means language. How does this person, what's the description of language? Kim prabhasheta, kim asita brajeta kim. How does this person behave? How does he sit? How does he walk? This person whose mind is in samadhi is a very calm state, and one whose intellect is not shaken. Samadhistasya Keshava, Sthita Dhi means one whose mind is very steady. Sthita Dhi, steady wisdom, whose intellect is not shaken. How does this person speak? How does this person sit? How does this person walk, he or she? Then Krishna says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavanuvacha
Prajahati Yada Kaman
Prajahati Yada Kama
Sarvan Partha Manogatan
Sarvan Parthamanogatan
Atmanyevatmana Tushtaha
Atmanyevatmana Tushtaha
Sthita Prajnastadochyate.
Sthita Pragnashtya Dostate.
Okay, Shri Bhagavan, this Bhagavan is the Lord, says, Prajahati yata kama. When a person discards all desires of a craving nature. So, this ice cream, all this, it has a sense of craving. So, the Buddha talks about two kinds of desires. One is craving, which comes heavily. It's something you want to like eat ice cream. If you don't have that, it gives you displeasure, right? You feel depressed. Then there is um, the other type of desire. It is wide. So you want to become a doctor so you can serve people. So this is the good desire. But so Krishna says when a person discards all desires of a craving nature, kama, this word used kama, it has like a craving nature. As and when they appear in the word, sarvan partha manogatan, when they come in the mind, Atmanyeva Atmanatushta. So in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, this is all this person by meditation, constantly practicing meditation, this person is content. Atmanyeva Atmanatushta. So one Atman here refers to the Atma, other Atma refers to the self. That is this person. When this person is content in oneself through the self, this person is called Sita Prajnas Tado Uchate. This person is called a person of steady wisdom. So Krishna defines. So this is the first thing when a person has a mind that can be drawn into meditation. This he talks much about this. Then Krishna, he lays the seed for the 6th chapter on meditation. And how does he, where in the 6th chapter, he in great detail describes a yogi. So here he lays the seeds. And in Shloka 2.61, he talks about this person of steady wisdom. So we will chant this. This and the next one, they are very similar shlokas. So he is this way, he's linking from chapter 2 to chapter 6. He's laying the seeds, the foundation. Tani sarvani samyamya
Tani sarvani samyamya
yukta asita matparaha
Yukta asita matparaha
vashe hi yasyendriyani
Vashe hi yasyendriyani
tasya prajna pratishtita.
Tasya prajna pratisthita.
Okay. Having controlled tani here means the senses. Having controlled the senses, sarvani, samyamya means having controlled them, samyama, bringing them under control, samam, balance. Yukta asita matparaha. The yogi should, yukta means yoga, uniting. Yogi should unite the body and the mind because sometimes we are disconnected from the body. Yogi Ukta Asit, sit down, sit, same root. Asita Matparaha, and thinking about me. So here, me can refer to the Atma or to the Paramatma. The whole idea is the Atma and the Paramatma, they are one and the same in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Advaita philosophy. Yukta asita mat paraha, with thinking about me. Vashehi yasyendriyani. Vasha means control, like mastery over the senses, because the senses can lead a person astray, and this person has perfect control over the senses. He knows when to engage the senses and when not to. And this person is steady, whose senses are under control. Vashehi yasyendriyani tasya prajna pratishtita. Their wisdom is steady, whose senses are under control. So this is um, the foundation for the sixth chapter on meditation. And you will find a very yukta asita matparaha. That same thing comes in the sixth chapter too, preparing for meditation. How does this person prepare for meditation? So we will chant this one. Prashantatma vigatabi
प्रशान्तात्मा विगतभिः
brahmacharya vrate stitaha
ब्रह्मचार्ये वते स्थितः
manas samyamya machitta
मनं समम्य मच्चित्ता
yukta asita matparaha.
युक्त आसीत मत्परः
Prashantatma, serene in the self. So this is the power of meditation and yoga. Serene in the self. Vigatabi, fearless, is what yoga gives, because there's so much contentment from inside. Brahmacharya vrate stitaha, firm in the vow of Brahma. Brahmacharya means the path of the Brahman. Usually it's associated with control of the senses, celibacy, these things. Manas samyamya machitta, mana, with the mind totally controlled and thinking of me. And this yukta asita matparaha, this person sits thinking about me as a supreme. Here, me can just be the Atma. So as you, in meditation, as you go inward and inward, when the mind becomes so steady, so we saw that example in some of the previous presentations, the mind is like a movie theater with sounds and images constantly play. When all the sounds and images, they go away, what the Atma sees in the mind is a reflection on the silver screen. That is the state when tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthan. The Atma resides in its own true nature. So this is what happens when you meditate. Mind becomes quieter. And all the asanas we are doing is to prepare the mind. We are going inside for meditation. So the yogi as a meditator. So these slokas, I will go over quickly. The preparation. So these are also important too, because it tells you the attitude. This is not like a social exercise, but it's more about finding the solitude and going inside. Yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasi stitaha ekaki yata chittatma nirashira parigraha. Yogi engages in solitude, being alone, because you need some time for yourself too. If you're constantly around people, then it is agitating. So restraining the mind and body without desires and greed. And then Krishna says, Shuchau deshe pratishtapya stiramasanam atmanah natyuchrutam nati nicham chailajina kushottaram. Here, establish in a clean place, taking up a firm posture. So we've seen, and Lataji also sent a picture of a chair where the spine automatically becomes straight. So, and it very clearly, this shloka says, the seat should not be too high or too low. So I showed the example of a meditation seat where your bottom is raised a little. This automatically makes the spine straight. And then तत्रैकाग्रं मनः कृत्वा यतचित्तेन्द्रियक्रियः उपविश्यासने युञ्जात् योगम् आत्मविशुद्धये. They are making the mind one-pointed, restraining the senses. Seated in the asana, the yogi should perform yoga for self-purification. This is what the shloka says. And this is a five-star shloka. B.K. Iyengar, he quotes this all the time. The posture, he talks about the posture. Samam kaya shiro grivam धारयन् अचलं स्थिरा सम्प्रेक्ष्य नासिकाग्रं स्वं दिशश्चानवलोकयन्. Samam means in the straight balance. Kaya is the body, Shiras is the head, Ugrivam is the neck. All these three in a straight line. B.K. Iyengar would call this the plumb line. From the navel all the way to the head, it's a straight line. This makes the body alert. Okay? Holding the steady and gazing at the tip of the nose. This doesn't mean you force, but you're with the eyes closed, bringing the attention to the nose. But this is not too important because in the previous shloka, in the previous chapter, Krishna says, Bhrumadhya, bringing attention. So it can be anything where you're closing the eyes and bringing the attention to the nose or to the center of the eyebrows without looking around. That's the most important thing. And then Krishna talks about a very beautiful shloka. So probably we'll chant this shloka because it talks, like it compares the yogi's mind to a lamp that does not flicker. So this is the power of meditation. This is such a beautiful state to meditate, and blessed are the people who meditate according to Krishna. So we will chant this. यथा दीपो निवातस्तः
यथा दीपो निवास्ततः
नेङ्गते सोपमा स्मृता
नेङ्गते सोमपास्मृता
योगिनो यतचित्तस्य
योगिनो यथ चित्तस्य
युञ्जतो योगम् आत्मना.
युङ्गतो योगमात्मना.
One can think, yatha deepo nivatas, vata is wind, nivatasya, place without wind. Just like a lamp does not, placed in a windless place, does not flicker. Ningate. So upama means simile. Just like one can think of the simile of a lamp placed in a windless place, not flickering. Two, yogino yata chittasya, to denote the mind of a yogi who practices meditation on the Atma. So there are different things you can meditate on. Breath is the most common thing. Slowly you go deeper and deeper, and then the mind rests very deep. You see the reflection. So that is when the Atma sees its own reflection. That is the ultimate goal. So there are very many beautiful shlokas on about the mind of a yogi in meditation. And this is a very beautiful shloka. Slowly there is progress. I will just play this one because the voice, a lot of people say is good.
शनैः उपरमेत् बुद्ध्या धृतिगृहीतया आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा न किञ्चिदपि चिन्तयेत्.
These slokas are all so beautiful. So Shanai, it doesn't come like this. Gradually, the mind, it becomes softer and softer. Uparamed, the yogi, upar is mean going up. So it achieves improving success in making the mind quieter. Atma, buddhya dhriti grihitaya, the intellect becomes very firm. With the mind, atma samstam manakritva, with the mind placed in the Atma. So you're going deeper and deeper. Kinchitapi chintayate. So not thinking about anything. So it's a slow process, gradually, but it continues. You pick up where you left in your previous lifetime. So that is the important thing. So it's not like a little bit of effort. When you add it all up, it becomes high. So that is what Krishna says. This is also a very beautiful sloka. When we meditate, you are saying you fall asleep. It's very common. Okay, mind will wander, then you bring it in slowly, but over time you will get some peace. And all the asanas we do, we'll get all the physical benefits, but health, everything. But the most important thing, it helps settle the mind. We'll listen to the shloka.
यतो यतो निश्चरति मनः चञ्चलम् अस्थिरम् ततस्ततो नियम्यैतत् आत्मन्येव वशं नयेत्.
Yato nischara charati means wanders away, steps. From whatever causes the mind wanders away, restless and unsteady mind. Mana chanchalam astiram, because chanchalam is unsteady. Astiram, the mana chanchalam is restless. Astiram, stiram means steady. This is mind is not steady. It constantly wanders. Tatas tato, from those causes bring the mind back. Niyam yaitat atman eva vasham nayetam. Place it in inside. So that's what it says. And what happens as a result of meditation? There is something called a pleasure which is not from the senses. This they consider the highest form of pleasure, because anything from the senses, if it's withdrawn, it causes sorrow. Whereas this thing is the greatest treasure because it cannot be taken away. It is always there. It is not dependent on external objects.
प्रशान्तमनसं ह्येनं योगिनं सुखम् उत्तमम् उपैति शान्तरजसम् ब्रह्मभूतम् अकल्मषम्.
Shanti is peace. Prashanti, it's like accentuating this bliss. Prashanta manasam, mind, one of such a peaceful mind. Prashanta manasam yenam, yoginam sukham uttamam. Sukham uttam. Uttama means like the ultimate, supreme bliss. Sukham, supreme joy, supreme bliss indeed comes to this yogi of peaceful mind. Upaiti Shanta Rajasa. Rajas is the turbulence, the passions. These Shanta Rajasa, these are pacified. Brahma Bhutam Kalmasham, one who has become one with the Brahman. Brahman is the supreme God or whatever you call it, who is sinless. The yogi will achieve this state. That's what in the Yoga Sutras it says. For yogi, the karma is neither white or black. Karma, Shukla, Krishnam Yoginaha, Trividam Iteration. Okay. These are all how the yoga, the text define this. Then it says, Tasya Prashanta Vahita Samskarat. It becomes part of your samskara. So the fact that you are able to meditate every day, it is become inbuilt in you. And from this comes continuous flow of peace. Little by little, it'll add. Then the next quality is all about meditation. Next quality about control of the senses, not by force, but by ease. The analogy, the Kurmasana, which we didn't do today because it's a difficult force, analogy to a tortoise. Okay, when they churned the ocean, the tortoise came and rested the mountain on which it was churned, and there was commotion going on. There's poison from the snake, and the tortoise was able to maintain its steadiness. So this is also a very important shloka. So and there's all the things going on, especially in these days with all the social media, internet. It's too many commotion. And we're able to withdraw everything and go find our inner steadiness, then that is the greatest bliss. So we will chant this. Yata samharate chayam
यदा संहरते चायं
kurmonganiva sarvashah
मोङ्गानिव सर्वशः
इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियातेभ्यः
इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियातेभ्यः
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता.
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता.
So in this second chapter, Krishna describes the person of steady wisdom, which we saw, like a tortoise withdrawing its limbs fully. The one who withdraws the senses from the sense objects is said to be of steady wisdom. So, and why is this important? Because the senses, when it rests on sense objects, it can just carry the mind like the wind does the boat. So this is also an important shloka. So it says the mind gets carried away by the senses on whatever it focuses, just like the wind carries away a boat in water. So I will just do Indriyani hicharatam yan mano nu vidiyate tadasya harati prajnam vayurnavamivambasi. Vayu, like the wind, Nava is a boat. Like a wind just moves the boat in the water. The mind gets carried away by the senses on which it focuses. And why is it bad? Because the senses, the Bhagavad Gita says, the pleasures that come from the senses are only a source of sorrow in the end. Even though initially it can give some pleasure, but later it will always cause problems. Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkayonaya evate adyantavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. The pleasures that arise from the contact of senses with sense objects, they only result in sorrow. They have a beginning and an end. The wise do not rejoice in them. This is what the fifth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita says. Now, this is a very important shloka. It talks about the yogi as being full of contentment, okay, as an ocean full of water. Okay, so maybe we will chant this one. Apuryamanam achala pratishtam
आपूर्यमाणं वचनप्रतिष्ठं
समुद्रमाप प्रविशन्ति यत्वत्
समुद्रमापः
प्रविशन्ति यत्वत् तत्वत् कामान् यं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे
तद्वत्कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे
स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी.
स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी.
This is a 5-star shloka. It's one of the most important shlokas. Very beautiful what it says. Apuryamanam achala pratishtam. As the ocean remains full and in achalam, in stillness, it's not shaking. When the rivers enter, water enters from all sides. Like that, when desires merge into this person of steady wisdom who has attained peace, and the person is not shaken, and not the desire of Sashanti mapnoti, this person attains peace. Na kama kami, not the desire of desirers. So that's what desire of desires is what Krishna calls the others. So what is the alternate pleasure? Pleasure. So pleasure not born of the senses. So we will listen to this.
यं लब्ध्वा च परं लाभं मन्यतेनाधिकं ततः यस्मिन् स्थितो न दुःखेन गुरुणापि विचाल्यते.
So these people who meditate, who do yoga, they think having obtained this, they think there's no other gain greater than this. Having established, they are not moved by sorrow or suffering, however heavy it is. So we studied two qualities, the mind qualities of a yogi. Who's a yogi? This yogi has a mind which is drawn inward easily into meditation. The yogi has the ability to control the senses because they found something which is much greater than the pleasure brought about by the senses. And the third thing is, the yogi is not given to excesses, excess food, excess effort, etc. Too much indulgence and too less effort is not yoga. Excess effort or deprivation to the point of suffering is also not yoga. So it defines a yogi is moderate, one who exercises moderation in eating and sleeping.
नात्यश्नतस्तु योगोऽस्ति न चैकान्तम् अनश्नतः न चाति स्वप्नशीलस्य जाग्रतो नैव चार्जुन.
So yoga is not possible for one who eats too much and who doesn't eat at all, one who sleeps too much, one who remains too much awake. And yoga comes to one who's restrained in eating and in recreation. For that person, yoga becomes the destroyer of all sorrow. And sometimes in yoga circles, people think that it's pushing the body to do all this asanas, especially in the circles that I practice, there's a misunderstanding that this austerity is yoga, but this is not so. In fact, Krishna very clearly tells, Ashastra vihitam goram tapyante ye tapojana damba mankara samyukta kamaraga palanvita kashyanta sharirastam bhutagramamachetasah mam chaivanta sharirastam tan vidyashura nishchayan. So these people who practice this terrible austerities not enjoined by the scriptures, given to hypocrisy and egoism, impelled by the force of lust and attachment, senselessly torturing all the elements in the body, and me also who dwells in the body, these people are to be of demonical resolves. So this terrible austerity, piercing the body, all this, doing this terrible things, pushing the body too much, that is not yoga. So you've studied what a yogi is. And I will stop the recording.